Hey friends, sorry I missed you guys last week on my hive update. I know some of my friends really wanted to know what was going on, but I was trying to help out some other person across town with retrieving a swarm that was in their tree for several days. But long story short, it didn't end up well. Nothing collected. They ultimately ran off. So I had done a quick check on my hives because remember how I introduced new queen bees to everybody, and the way it was over there, the fossil box, the queen was there. They'd rubbed off her little blue dot, so it was harder to find her, but she was there. She hadn't started laying eggs. Over here in Brick House, there was the queen with the blue dot. She had laid a few eggs, and in this hive, my Ocean View, I didn't see the queen. I saw what they called supersedure cells, which is effectively, again, raising a new queen out of a larva. If it was a young larva, if the queen either got killed, which would have meant they might have rejected her, or they were dissatisfied with her. Sometimes they just don't like her smell, and they might raise a new one. But when I'm coming in here this week, by the way, this is great thanks to a friend who actually loaned me a little neck holding piece for my cell phone, so I didn't have to do this one-handed anymore, and I don't have to go buy an expensive GoPro either, which is certainly a fine thing. But here, after a week of absence, I am seeing baby larvae and eggs in this frame. The little covered things are capped cells. The ones that bulge out are typically drone cells on there. I don't know what's going on with that big bulger right there. That looks like it might be attempt at a queen supersedure or just a mighty drone. It's just weird. I don't know what kind of monster is going to come out of there. But the fact that I'm seeing eggs in there, it means there is a queen that's laying. So I don't know if it's my original one, if she was just a little late starter. I'm going to look for her, but this is really nice because that means I can actually move to the next phase as long as queens are laying, which will be starting to monitor mite counts and build up for, of course, honey collection later on. But yeah, we've got some really nice little brood. The stuff that isn't capped is not pupa stage, but the little tiny C-shaped white guys in there are all larvae. And if you see an egg in there now, I've got to figure out how to align this when I'm not holding onto it with one hand, the camera. But if you see little eggs in there, that is a sign that they were laid within 3 days, and effectively larvae that are uncapped are less than 6 days old, and I mean these are fat ones, so they're close to that, so that means there's something going on. Very nice stuff. Now, one thing I like to do, I got to the bottom box and I saw some more brood in there as well. I never spotted the queen, but that's okay. It just means activity's going. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it up a little bit, create just a healthy amount of chaos. There are babies in the middle frame and the lower frame, and the top box I didn't really see much going on, but I do want to do is I want to transfer all the brood to the bottom. I want to put some of the filled honey that they had in some of the frames on the outsides of the boxes, which they tend to ignore in a 10 frame hive. That's why some people like 8 framers, because they just seem to actually do nothing to the outer 2 frames in a 10 frame hive, but it's reserves. And I'm just going to kind of mix it up and put a couple empty frames between the brood, which they really don't like, and it means they're going to work harder to fill it in. And so that's how some of the management goes, so you could stimulate activity, prevent swarms from happening because they're too busy fixing the chaos and building up. They don't feel crowded out, and we'll go from there. But this is a good start. Ladies and gentlemen, I found her. They did not kill the Saskatraz queen, because there she is with her blue dot moving around. So that is excellent. because I paid money for her, you know. I mean, like, I'll take any queen that goes by here, but I'm trying to go for somebody who's a little more disease resistant and friendly, good producers. These Saskatraz bees have a good reputation, but voila. Hello, mama. Let's see, what was her name? That was BBA. This is this is Justine Bieber. Yeah. All right, where'd she go? See, they're very elusive sometimes, but cool. I'm gonna put her in the lower frame there and let her keep working on this. And this is really good stuff. Good stuff. I am 3 for 3 for queen bees. Speaking of temperament, I was about to comment how good temperamented these little bees were, but then possibly because when I opened up the box, it was so well glued by their propolis, which is a product they collect from tree sap and combine it with some enzymes to form glue for small spaces. But it jarred things up a little bit and I got a sting in the hand there. But the neat part is I already preloaded myself with Allegra, which to me has worked a lot better than Benadryl. Benadryl took the swelling down from a lot to a medium amount, but it also got me to use this first time tool called Therapic. This was something that actually a friend of mine who went to an ER for related to a wasp sting allergy, the ER doctor recommended. It's kind of cool product because what it does is if you carry it with you, the moment you get stung by a bee, a wasp, or even a mosquito bite, you push this red button, it turns on a red light and it puts it on. You put it on, see, this is where I got hit right there, it's kind of red, and you put it on for like 30 seconds. It generates a lot of heat, like barely tolerable heat, but what it does is it actually heats up the venom right as you get it in there to neutralize it and inactivate it. So I just tried it on myself. We'll see how it happens. I mean, a combination of antihistamine and this, if it doesn't cause any big swelling in a couple hours, it's a good combination of a win. So it's also a recommendation for you people who have, you know, mosquito bite allergies or anything like that. So try Therapic, look that up. Now I've opened up Fossil Box, the farthest one over here. So this one will be Frederica Mercury, who I did see last week. And just opening up on top, things are quiet, but this frame is full of eggs on this side, so she's definitely doing her thing. I gotta move a lot faster right now because clouds are gathering and I think I heard a little pitter patter of rain, and that's gonna make these girls super cranky if it starts getting bad. But mainly I want to just separate them out so that the eggs, again, there's plenty of brood on the bottom box and that there's enough activity over here so that they can kind of continue to work between them. So look at this. They do make their own little messes, and they'll actually create all this, what they call burr comb. It's like extra comb trying to glue the top to the bottom sometimes. So you do have to do a little housekeeping while you're beekeeping. Otherwise, you do find these things sometimes completely glued together, and that's a real pain in the neck to open up if that's the case. But yeah, so Fossil Box is doing well, and I'll do a quick show of Brick House as well, and I will plan on putting a third box on this one to give her even more space. Now for my final hive, Brick House, there she is with the blue dot, Our Lady, the queen. But she's kind of got a slow start. She's, for some reason, isn't laying as many eggs. There's brood, so it's not anything that bad, but I was going to add a third box to this, but you also don't want to overwhelm them with so much space they don't know what to do with it. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to leave everything be on this, let her continue to get ramped up, and yeah, just move some of these frames around to give her some space to lay, and just give her a little more time to start ramping up the machine. I think she's off to a slow start, but it's working. So that's the weekly update, and hopefully next week I'll be able to start doing mite counts then to see if they're in a adequate place, because you want to keep the percent mites down to a minimum. It's never zero, but a minimum. All right, have a good week, everybody.